Halloween
forever.
No dumb jokes today. Okay, this is serious.
Aww.
This is dead ass serious. I need an immediate response from you. First thing that comes to your head. It's a yes or no question. All right. Here's the scenario. You go to the afterlife, right? Betty White is there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She has a dick. Do you suck it? Yes or no? Go.
Yes. Yes.
No. Okay. We're split. We got a split house.
Where
I'm
are
going to
you?
be the deal breaker. I guess I'm going to be the deal breaker. I'm going to say yes. All right. So the answer is yes. You've been outvoted, Steve. Welcome, boys. No, shut up. Welcome, boys and ghouls, to another fucking Minisode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
Well, I'm Meg.
I have more questions.
Okay,
Steve.
go ahead, Steve. Yes, you in the front row. Gentlemen in the front row.
But my question is just like when you imagine this scenario,
Right.
how old is Betty White in the scenario?
Betty White is timeless.
I know, but is she like is she the hot Betty White from the 20s?
I think
Like, is she in her 20s or is she still like an old lady?
I think
Because
she's
just
what he's
like-
really asking is how saggy are the balls?
Oh,
Right,
Well,
in
we
general,
never
I
said
don't
she had
wanna-
balls.
It for me, it doesn't matter. I'll do either.
I'll do it either way. Yeah,
Just-
same.
Okay, but I have no interest in touching old people, so
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
Like, because
Listen, how
my
about this?
immediate thought was like just Betty White with like a Slim Jim, because it's all it's all dried up and
Crangled.
yeah, it's all dried up and like
It's all
like a
crangled.
knotted root. I'm like, I'm not into that. I'm
No.
just way off.
You want a nice, smooth, tight penis.
If I have to,
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I say it's whatever version that Betty prefers. So
Wow, nice.
it's hard to tell.
Interesting.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say where she's going to land. I like to imagine it's like Golden Girls season 3. When the show's really hitting its stride.
that's when she's that's when she thinks she's peaking.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's when she's peaking. I don't know. We'll see. We might all
Guess we'll
die.
all find out when
We'll
we
all-
die.
Yeah, we'll all find out when we die soon. All right.
I'm just imagining now, like wherever we go in the afterlife, the only questions are: would you suck someone's dick or not? Like,
That's always
like,
the most interesting.
is that a
questions.
personal hell or like heaven to someone?
We play this game, me and some of my high school friends, where we throw scenarios out there, and it's not always just will you suck this dick. It also is just like any type of like. It's usually highly sexualized, but what we do is we make it like and then if somebody says no, you sweeten the deal a little bit, and if they say yeah sure, then you make it a little rougher. And you just push it to its absolute limits.
So it's not so much would you rather, but it's just like where do you put the line?
Where's the line? Yeah, that's really where it is. That's really where it is. And you learn a lot about people, and that's why I like it. I would love for that to be like an icebreaker during like an onboarding for a new job or something like that. But
I would too. I think I would appreciate
everybody's
that.
too prudish. Yeah, too many prudes out there.
Change the world here in HR, Brian.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to go over too well. In any case, we are going to do a couple of damn things today on this here mini-sode. First of all, if you didn't listen to last week's episode, go the fuck back and listen to it, because we're about to spoil who won. Ready? Ya boy took it home last week with just a grimy ass, dirty goal. I think I kicked it in the net. I mean, they didn't. They called it a goal. They didn't wave it off, but I kicked it in. It was
You definitely
it was-
nothing but netted that shit show.
Yeah, it was a rough one. It bounced off my ass and into the goal. But you know what? A goal's a goal on the stat sheet. A win's a win. So I got to pick what movie we're going to discuss here, and instead of doing a punishment episode or reprimanding you guys for your insolence, I decided we would do something fun. And it wasn't what I was planning on doing, but I just popped it in because I think Steve might have mentioned it, or somebody mentioned this movie recently. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put it on the watch list because I haven't seen it in many, many years. So I popped on good old 1999's Lake Placid. And goddamn, that movie's fun. It's just a blast from beginning to end. So I said, you know what? I'm going to be gracious, right? I'm not going to.
He's learning. He's learning from the best over here.
I'm not treating you guys. I'm not giving you what you deserve, you dirty little swine. But instead, I'm going to give you a tasty little piggy treat. It's
plus, you know, you guys. I don't know, but you've got a lot of pork on the line for the moment. But
I'm really getting a kick out of it. Yeah, so we go Lake Placid.
Yeah, I think what you're doing, though, is nice because, you know, the last showdown, pretty much every film was a punishment film. So it's not just it's not just for Meg and I. I think you're also doing this for the audience.
Yeah.
So they don't have to slug another hour and a half through garbage.
No, I think we all needed a reprieve. Everyone needed a little, you know, rinsing their mouth out with something fun and saucy instead of just more fermenting garbage water. So. Yeah, so we're doing Lake Placid, like I said, from 1999, which is an absolute blast of a movie. I imagine many of you have already seen it, but if you haven't, definitely go rewatch it because it's even more fun than you remember. But we've got some other dang things we got to do before that. First of all, beers.
Beelsies.
What do we got?
I picked up on my recent trip to Austin this lovely American Pilsner from Zilker Brewing Company.
Ooh, I like that label. Here, let me see that a little close. Ooh,
yeah.
Very classic, very high life inspired.
I think you'll actually like all of the labels. So I told the guys already that I brought a bunch of stuff back that I'm going to share with them. But yeah, I actually like, because I think all of their labels almost have maybe like a mildly 70s inspired. Like they actually have a paleo like called Parks and Rec. So it's like you think about the show Parks and Rec and when they were revamping the logo and they brought it to be like 70s like. So it's cool. Like, yeah, but the brewery's actually really nice and they're growing pretty rapidly because like you walk in and you see some fermenters and like a bright, and then you see the brew house in like right behind the bar. But then my friend who was showing us around brought us like literally through this door, and I was like, oh, like holy shit, it was like actually pretty huge. But yeah, great brewery, delicious beer, and that's what I got.
Yeah, looking tasty. Well, Steve, what do you have? I'll finish it up.
I've got a one coming out of Warren, Ohio. You would be somewhat familiar with that area.
Oh yeah,
it Modern Methods Brewing Company, and it's called the Roast Beast American Stout. It's just kind of a straight down the middle 6% stout. It's got all the things going on, but it doesn't have like a whole bunch of goof ass bells and whistles in it.
Mm-hmm. That's also a very classic, even I was going to say mid-century modern, but it's even more than that. It's more like a 30s, 40s, almost looks like something you would see on like Art Deco, almost like something you would see on like an old like gas station sign or something like that.
It also, it kind of looks like the Rolls Royce, the
emblem,
hood ornament, hood ornament, the spirit that's on the Rolls Royces. But it's a brewery I found just like their 6-pack in an Eagle, and I picked it up and I tried. We tried a bunch on the Hop Nation podcast, and I have this one left over, and then I have like a Pilsner and a lager that I want to give to you to have you try out. But see what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I need to go over. We talked to us a while. I need to go over and hit up some of those breweries. I've had some of the beers that I'll pick them up at Vintage if they have them at Vintage Estates, but I haven't hit a lot of those breweries in person in like the Youngstown, Warren, Boardman, Poland, Ohio type of corridor there. So
need to get out. The one thing I'll say that they do really well is they get their beers really, really clear. We had like a West Coast IPA and a lager from them, and both were incredibly clear. And I was just surprised that like that's coming from a brewery from Warren, Ohio that just opened in 2016. So
do you know like what even like their capacity is? Because I'm curious if like they brew enough to make it worth having a filter on hand, or if they're really just giving it the time it needs to. I have no idea. I can't imagine they're much bigger than any other like brewery that would be about the size of like an Abjuration or something like that. I feel like Abjuration's a funny example to use because don't they have like a half barrel? Yeah, I was like, that's tiny, tiny babies.
I was trying to think of somebody who's more in the middle, but like, I don't know, maybe even.
I mean, Necromancer's what, 3 barrels?
Yeah, I was going to say, Shoe Brews in that is like three barrel, I think now. Or no, didn't they get a bigger brew house now? Maybe it's 7. I don't know.
Necromancer's getting a lot bigger too, anyway. But maybe you know where this is, Brian, but they're actually located on David Grohl Alley. If that sounds any familiar at all.
David Grohl. So I think I know of a hot dog shop that is near there.
Okay.
I like how you first were like, I know of a David Grohl.
No,
it's like,
David Grohl,
yeah, Brian, we all fucking know David Grohl. Like,
no, I know of a David Grohl Alley. I've heard before somebody tell me that there is a street named after David Grohl there. And I don't know if it's the same Foo Fighter David Grohl, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'll have to look it up. There is a pretty nice little hot dog shop near there, which means, listen, damn, that's a good 45-minute road trip over there to get some hot dogs and beer. So I'm on board. You tell me they got clear beer. You tell me it's in walking distance of a good hot dog shop. You know what? I'm fucking sold. I am drinking a newish beer, I think, from Dogfish Head called Where the Wild Hops Are. And it has really no description at all on the packaging besides the fact that it is a 6.5% India Pale Ale. It did not look, hazy or anything like that. Although when I pour it, it does have quite a bit of cloudiness. And I'll be honest, a borderline alarming amount of sediment on the bottom of it. And it's in code. So it was just brewed in January, I think. It's a little smudgy, so it's hard to say, but there's a lot of sediment. I don't have much of a sense of smell right now because I'm sick, but I can smell that it is pretty oxidized.
Nice.
So it might have just been kind of mishandled or something like that. I bought it at a pick your own 6-pack type of situation at a Home D. So God knows what type of weird shit happened to this beer. But
2 things: is the label cool? Because I feel like with a name like that, there's a lot of opportunity for a cool label.
It's okay. If it's
not as exciting as I thought it would be.
No, it just looks like a. But you know what it does say, which I do like that they say this. It's an off-centered art series. Featuring Max Mann. Man.
Well, then I don't want to talk too much shit on the art.
No, but it was at least hopefully some independent artists that they're supporting. But it doesn't necessarily jump off the shelf at you or anything like that. But I typically have a soft spot for Dogfish Head, especially the Namaste wit beer and some of their other beers. So you know what? I'm usually not going to grab a 6-pack, but I'll grab a single here and there of Dogfish Head and see when they try something. This one is a miss, but I don't know that it's necessarily how it's supposed to taste. So I will give them some leeway there. So
apparently it's an unfiltered rustic IPA, which is why it looks like it does. But it has Zappa, Amarillo, Comet, and Sabro as the hops.
Yeah, Sabro is definitely at the forefront here.
Yeah,
it's got that coconut pina colada thing like crazy.
And then it says it's blended with a touch of barrel-aged wild ale that's been aged 4 years in French oak barrels.
Interesting.
So, it sounds like they added a barrel of something.
Like I said, I have almost no sense of smell right now, but I can still get the coconut. But, I mean, that stands to reason now. If there's some wild ale, if there's some although I imagine it's... I think they pasteurize all their beer, so it's not going to be a living culture or anything like that. But it might explain a little bit of the chunkies, but it's like pretty aggressive with the chunkies. Yeah. But it's like I said, it's also kind of in the oxidized realm as well. So I think it's a combination of things, including maybe being kind of mishandled. But it's kind of an interesting beer. It's really tropical. It's stone fruit, and like I said, it's got that big pina colada thing on the nose. If I can smell it right now, it's pretty prominent because I can't smell shit right now.
Have you guys seen any of the RTDs of Dogfish? Because I was a little surprised to find them in Texas, and I didn't even know they were doing them. But they had a couple available at one of the stops that we made on our way out.
I've had some in the past, but it's been some years. I didn't even realize they still did that.
Yeah. I think I was like even more surprised of how many more like RTDs I saw down in Texas than I have seen up here as well. It's interesting.
All right. Beers are behind us. Let's talk about April, guys. March is almost halfway over, or it is halfway over, pretty much. And we're going to get the hell out of this month here soon. It's pissing me off. March always pisses me off because you get that few nice sunny days, you're out and about, and then I got fucking 6 inches of snow dropped on me yesterday. I'm sure you guys dealt with something similar. Megan, you were wearing shorts and t-shirts a couple days ago, and then came back to this shit storm. So I imagine that doesn't feel too great either. But
yeah, I was telling Steve that we were like basically following the storm, and at one point we had to just stop and let the storm get ahead of us because it was pretty gnarly out there. But no, fuck March. I'm with you.
Yeah, March is a piece of shit. St. Patty's is, whatever. It's fine. I'm not a huge St. Patty's guy. It's amateur hour for drinking. So you got a bunch of meatheads out there trying to fight each other in the street. And then everyone just pretends Jewish food's Irish, and then it's fucking April soon. So that's the best thing. It's the best thing about St. Patty's Day in my mind. But we have a upcoming showdown episode, and it always sneaks up on us, but here we are. So we are going to spin that some bitchin' wheel, you guys. We had some topics added to the wheel since last time around, so we've got some new options. We've got some moldy oldies that have been spinning around there for a while and haven't gotten drawn yet. But yeah, Steve's going to spin that damn wheel. We're going to come up with three potential topics for our showdown episode in April, which is the first Monday in April, first Monday in every month. And if you want to suggest topics to us, or if you want to help vote on which three of these potential topics gets picked for April, what you need to do is go over to the old social medias and follow us. So at Halloween is Forever on Instagram, at Hallow Forever on Twitter, Halloween is Forever Podcast on Facebook, Halloween is Forever Pod at gmail.com for the emails, or Halloween is Forever Pod on a Tiki-Talkies. And we usually use Instagram and Twitter for voting on these things. There'll be a little poll type situation in our Instagram story or in our Twitter feed. So give it a vote. You get to pick which one of these sumbitches we pick for the showdown episode. Then each one of us will pick a movie that pertains to that topic. And then we'll talk about them and we'll argue about them and then we'll vote. And one of us will take home that goddamn strap for the month. So do we have our first pick from that saucy bitch, the wheel?
The wheel has decided to choose.
The wheel has spoken.
The wheel has spoken, and the first the first one I think is going to make some of our listeners happy.
I'm scared now
because it's actually a really new addition to the wheel.
God,
okay.
It's Bigfoot horror.
Oh my God!
Oh Jesus Christ! That's
we
literally the
just
one.
added.
That's the one that just got added. That's actually a remarkable amount of luck there, considering we probably have 50 things on that wheel now,
right?
And it came up first. Who suggested it? Who suggested Bigfoot horror?
Ben.
Was it Ben?
Yeah, that's Ben and Jen asking for that. And
okay, let's clarify. It's not Jen.
She's the one who texted me of a movie that she actually liked.
Oh no shit!
And so, and she was gonna try to have Ben remember, but I was just like, I was a little surprised to get that text. But
well, you know what? Congrats, Ben. You're doing the Lorb's work out there. You're finally getting her to do it. Appreciate. I remember early on, not well received some of these movies. So we're back on track here. Bigfoot horror. The fact that got drawn not only in the first week, but literally the very first drawing is kind of fucking alarming. But
look, it's on to the voting now. It's Ben's job to push it through.
Yeah, I'm going urban Sasquatch. I'm just calling it right now, guys.
Suburban Sasquatch.
I'm sorry, suburban Sasquatch. Very different thing. Yeah. Suburban Sasquatch. And I think anybody who's seen this movie probably broke into a fucking cold sweat. God, I love suburban Sasquatch. Okay, Bigfoot horror is our first horror. What is this sumbitchin' wheel say for our second option?
So this one, I'm not gonna belabor the point because I don't think anybody really asked for it per se, but it's British horror.
Hey,
British.
I like a British horror.
Oh, people.
You know what would be great? The accents.
Yeah.
So if you're a fan of our strong accent work, you might want to pick that one up. My accent, my British accent used to just be Michael Caine, and I get into the accent by saying his name, but not by saying Michael Caine, but by saying my cocaine.
Cocaine.
So you say my cocaine.
My cocaine.
My cocaine. My cocaine.
You just drop all. It's just MICO. Myco.
My cocaine.
My cocaine.
But it started to go into a oh God, what's Hardy? Last name's Hardy. What the hell's his first name?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. All I want to say was both of the Hardy boys. Not Tom Hardy.
Matt and Jeff.
I literally was going to say Matt, and I was like, nope, it's not Matt. I was like, what is it, Jeff? Nope, that's the other Hardy boy.
I always love
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, I always love. Do you ever watch Peaky Blinders?
Yes.
Like, I love his accent in that
Holy
too. Oh my
shit,
God.
that is the most Cockney anyone has ever been in a movie ever. I just watched him as well playing. He plays the two main characters who are twins, and Tom Hardy plays them both. And it's called it's a British mob movie. I think it's called like Legendary or something. It has a Legend. I think it's called. It has a really shitty name that doesn't give you any indication at all of what it is. But the movie's actually killer.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched it. I forget the name too, but I feel like
it's Legend, isn't it? I don't know. It's something
that kind
like
of
that.
sounds familiar.
Right.
Yeah, but I feel like it's one of those things. It's okay. It's a shitty movie. You see Tom Hardy on the cover, and you're like, "Yep, sold, done. I'm into this."
I'll watch anything with Tom Hardy. He's
also
a great
even more,
actor.
like,
He's
does he take his shirt off? Yes. Okay. Cool.
Yes.
Even more.
He's maybe the most attractive goddamn man on the planet. And listen, you could take your Jason Momoa and stick it up your ass because I'm a Tom Hardy boy. But yes, I watch anything with him. And and of course, fucking Bronson. I mean, he's got a hell of an accent in Bronson.
Mm-hmm.
All right, listen, no more gushing about Tom Hardy. When we get into our tangent, I've come to learn that our tangents are 99% around garbage food that we eat and boy crushes. That's pretty much what all of our tangents are now at this point.
You know, teenage Megan is very happy about all of this.
Yeah, and 36-year-old Brian as well. All right, what is our third category?
And the third category, Monsters from the Deep.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm kind of actually... Guys, pick that one. Let's steal one.
I have been fucking with some creature features lately. I just watched The Magnetic Monster yesterday. And then, never mind. Last night I watched Vertigo, which is obviously not a monster movie, but holy fuck is that movie good. It's been a couple years. I always forget how insanely good that movie is. But I have been on a monster. I watched The Strangeness day before yesterday. Never I don't think I've ever heard of it. Like, it's never been on my radar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I pop it in, I watch it. It's from 1985. It looks like it's from 1975. I don't understand why it looks so much older than it is. It's a very enjoyable movie. The monster is, I think, a big octopus with a vagina head.
Yes.
It's rad. It's rad.
It's my boy fun. Crush.
Squid vagina head. Steve's really... I've been on the creature feature. Steve's been on the manga.
It's called hentai, Brian.
Hentai. Oh yeah, hentai. Yes. So it was really fucking fun. But love me some Monsters from the Deep. I mean, Humanoids from the Deep. Right there, man. I fucking love that movie. We could go some fucking Deep Star 6, Leviathan. We could even go fucking Disney and go 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Sure.
If we really, really wanted to. That would be a fun one as well. Actually, I'm pretty excited about any of these three prospects. There's no lame duck in the lot 2 months in a row, I think. That's been the case.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about that. So to recap, our three potential topics for the month of April: Bigfoot horror, which now the more I think about that, it's going to be, getting into springtime. You want to be out in the woods hiking. It's just Bigfoot horror seems appropriate. British horror, which I like that idea a lot, but there's no fucking way that's going to win. Although I've been wrong many times. And of course, Monsters of the Deep. So go follow us on the social medias. Sometime this week, we will post that, usually like midweek. We usually do it like Wednesday or something like that. Tuesday, Wednesday. And then you can vote on which one you want us to do for that April Showdown. Now, boys and ghouls, let's get the fuck into Lake Placid. Have you guys, I know Steve has. Meg, have you seen Lake Placid before this?
I actually did not. I did not watch it when I was a kid.
So first time watch, very fun.
My initial reaction to it was, is this a rom-com or is this an actual horror movie? And then I was like, oh, yeah, I guess the rom-com idea makes sense. Like, let's trauma bond over being eaten by a fucking crocodile. Cool. That works. I could see the A to Z on the love story.
I feel like movies in this time frame, they all had to have like strong romantic elements. I don't know if it was because of this, like, we were in the midst of this like teen heartthrob thing with the boy bands and all that stuff. Like that had all come back so strong that they felt like there had to be, like, for kids to be involved, there had to be like a romantic element. I don't know. But yeah, it seems like every movie from like the mid 90s to through early 2000s there's always like this very strong romantic component to it.
Yeah.
You know what movie is very similar to this in many ways? Twister.
Yeah. That's a good one. I was actually going to ask if you guys could think of any other of the ones that kind of had definitely that romantic relationship thing where something traumatic and scary was going on.
Jurassic Park, Twister, like a lot of these movies have this kind of same, and it's and the romantic interests, the roles can kind of swap, but it's always that one of them is kind of like uptight or formal or learned or stuffy, and the other one is kind of down to earth or more outgoing or whatever, and then they have to like meet in the middle. I just feel like that's always kind of where they fall, or one of them's more like kind of, I don't know. It just felt like that was like a super common theme.
You know something that all three of those movies you just mentioned, Twister and Jurassic Park and Lake Placid, all have as well? They all have cow-based humor.
That's funny.
That was a big thing,
That's
too.
Interesting. Oh my gosh.
Damn, that's good.
They all had like a blonde leading lady, but the other two were less annoying than Bridget Fonda in this movie. I wanted to punch her about 20 times in the face.
She was tough to deal with. It's funny now, Steve. Now that you say that, the cow thing, that was a thing in the mid to late 90s. You would just have cows inserted into video games a lot. Like there would be like, yeah, there would be like cow jokes all the time, or like, or even what was the racing game where like every once in a while you'd hit a cow, like driving on the road, you hit a cow. I can't remember which one it is.
Carmageddon, Twisted Metal.
No, it wasn't. Anyway, like there's a lot of cow humor. I didn't really.
I'm very curious about that. I feel like so Jackass got popular around there too. Even like they would have weird things about like having bulls in there, and like I know this is probably not completely related, but I'm just like thinking about things in that time that like, oh, were we somehow exposed to ridiculous things, or like Tom Green being popular around then too?
I think it had to do with mad cow disease.
Oh, so maybe we're trying to like humorize? Oh, that's
basically it was just in the pop culture zeitgeist kind of. I don't know. It was in the news. But also cows are pretty funny. Yeah. They're just big fucking stupid walking food. They're so goddamn, they're so dumb though. I mean, I love cows too. They're very cute. I've spent time working in dairy farms and shoveling cow shit, and they are so fucking dumb. And it's not their fault. We've bred them to be that way, right? Selective breeding to be big walking food sources. But holy shit, are they stupid?
I just have like really fond memories because again, now you guys are probably going to call me a cowgirl. I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going to happen here. But like, I had a family member who raised Angus cows, and like at one point when I was a kid, they had babies, and when we were visiting, we'd like go feed them like milk, but they would also just like I don't know, kind of like when dogs get weird and there's like sort of licking. Like these cows just like have this thing about it. It was I don't know. They were very cute. I love it.
We were at a dairy farm. Where were we at? I forget. We were at a dairy farm. I think we were just up at Windy Ridge Dairy over here in beautiful Farm Bell. You know, them folks. Oh, God, I tried. Sorry, quick tangent. I tried to snap a picture, but I didn't want to crash and die. Coming up Route 288 from Zilly to Elwood City, halfway between, while you're in that kind of Farm Bell area there, Windy Ridge Dairy, which we talked about having the root beer milk.
Yeah.
They have a sign on the side of the road. And I drove by it yesterday, and all the sign says, it's one of those ones you put in the new letters, you know what I mean, kind of thing. And what they had on the sign this week just said, "We have root beer milk."
Dude, you need to get a supply for us. I do need to try this.
Yeah. Coincidence? Or are they listening?
They might be diehard listeners. Who knows? But getting back to my story, when we were over at Windy Ridge Dairy doing a little like tour of the barns and stuff like that with Maggie's preschool class last year, she reached down to pet one of the cows, and it put its giant long tongue out and like wrapped it around her hand and licked her, and she almost crapped her pants. Like she was like not expecting,
or like
out of like, why does a cow have a 9-foot long tongue? Like,
that's true,
like you know what I mean? Like a kid would never expect an animal that looks like that to have a tongue that long. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, I mean, she's seen a giraffe. I feel like they always have that like reputation to have a huge tongue.
That's
besides
true,
Gene
too.
Simmons, right?
She has fed a giraffe before as well. So I don't know. She just I don't know if she wasn't expecting it, but the look of pure horror on her face when this giant freaking rough textured tongue licked all the way up her arm. All right, guys, let's talk real quick about just the genius that is Steve Miner, the director of this film. I don't think people give this fucking guy enough credit. Like, he's definitely considered to be one of the, top, he's among the upper echelon of the last, 30 plus years horror directors, but he doesn't get talked about, in my opinion, nearly enough. He directed. I'm just going to go through the highlights. I was going to say,
I'm like, says the person who loves Friday the 13th too.
So Friday the 13th Part 2, Friday the 13th Part 3, House, and then I'll just throw another one, 9 episodes of The Wonder Years. Also good.
Cool.
Okay, this stuff not as important. Dawson's Creek, big stuff. Halloween H2O.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Lake Placid.
Day of the Dead?
Only one episode of Smallville. That's not the George A. Romero Day of the Dead.
Well, it was the remake. It was the remake. That's what I was just scared because I saw that because I knew that there was a remake of it.
Oh, did he do the 2008 remake?
That's what's on their Wikipedia.
Oh, I didn't even know he did that. Well, there you fucking go.
I'm excited.
Look,
I didn't realize he did that. That's cool.
I didn't even realize that was him as well. And he's still directing shit now. He's currently working on a film called The Exorcism at Lincoln High. So my point is, dude's a fucking animal. Strong
more
portfolio.
High school horror movies coming up. Cool.
I know. I love me some Steve Miner. He's got some fucking great movies. And this movie has a hell of a cast in it. I mean, we've already obviously mentioned the late great Betty White, and I am a really, really, not even ironically, a genuinely very big Golden Girls fan. Okay. It is one of the funniest fucking shows on TV. If you haven't watched it, Hallmark Channel runs it goddamn every day, pretty much. Just go do yourself a favor and watch a few episodes of Golden Girls.
I've never watched it before.
Really?
Yeah,
it's never watched fucking it. Funny. Like, it gets like raunchy, but in like a clever way. The writing is so good. There's not a weak link amongst them in terms of the performance. Like the cast has so much chemistry. There's like Betty White plays like the kind of she definitely plays kind of like the ditzy type of character, and but she is, I mean, every single person just gets crazy laughs. I just watched an episode yesterday where they all watch Psycho, and they're all scared and they having nightmares, they can't go to sleep, and they're all just like sitting around eating cheesecake and like gabbing in the kitchen, and then they're finally like, all right, we're calm enough to go to bed, and then oh my gosh, why am I blanking on Dorothy's mom? Oh my god. Anyway, the oldest one of them pops in the door with a big giant butcher knife and screams at them. And they all, oh my god, it's fucking hilarious.
Why can't I remember her name? It's Estelle Getty.
Estelle Getty is her name. I was going to say Estelle Getty, but it's not. It's there's Rose. There is Rose Nyland, Blanche Devereaux, Dorothy Spornak, and oh my god! All right, I'm going to look it up right now because it's going to kill me.
It's not Truby, is it?
No,
Truby?
No.
I don't know. No, I'm just like looking at I literally Googled this and I was like, there's Debbie Reynolds playing as Truby Steele.
No.
No.
That's a crazy name, Truby.
Truby is it's a streaming service for hazy IPAs.
Oh shit! Okay, Debbie Reynolds. I know what the fuck she is. Anyhow,
Sophia,
yeah,
Sophia. Jesus Christ, I couldn't think of it. Which the funniest part about it is Sophia, who plays Dorothy Spornak, who's B. Arthur, plays her mom. She was actually the youngest of the four of them in real life. Oddly enough. But anyway, yeah, so fucking Golden Girls forever. But in addition to a relatively small part in this movie, but one that has some very memorable lines, one of which, if you were wondering why I made the joke about sucking Betty White's hypothetical dick at the beginning of this episode, it's because she has a very memorable line in this movie where she tells the police chief, "This is the part that if I had a dick, I'd tell you to suck it."
She's so good. I honestly don't know if I would even say she has like a subtle part. I feel like she probably is seen just as much as we see the crocodile, but I feel like she is like way more fun throughout it. Like even at the end when she has little babies and she's just like, "Come to mama." I was like,
yeah,
yes.
And she's very blunt. She kind of plays this character who has like no filter, and she openly talks about how she basically may or may not have murdered her husband.
I'm pretty sure she said she murdered him.
She said she did, but then later on she suggests that he didn't.
Well, the crocodile ate it.
Crocodile ate him. Yeah. But then but in any case,
she was taking the fall for the crocodile,
I know. Yeah. She loves the crocs. I like that.
She should have told him to suck her croc. That would have been the line.
Okay, sidebar, but I think this would have made the movie really hilarious. There is this like people who have an account on social media, but it's this woman. She has a very strong accent. I don't even want to like pretend like I know exactly what it is, but she has this thing where if her husband pisses her off, she'll like kick up her flip-flop and then throw it at his head, and it's hilarious. But I kind of like almost wish that Crocs were popular in this time. Then she would have been like, "I'm gonna kick up my Croc and throw it in you." Like, "Don't touch my Crocs." Yeah, it would have been great.
Suck my Croc and then just flip it at him.
Croc, yeah. Flip up, throw it at your head.
Well, you know what, Meg? Maybe you can check out one of the 5 other Lake Placid films and see if that's a plot point.
I have never seen any of the other ones. I've never seen any of the other ones.
When I finished this one, I was like, you know what? This, again, because I was like, yeah, it's like a fun movie, but again, and I kind of like glad I watched it now. I may have liked it differently when I was a kid, but it almost sounded the way they were talking like it was a dub over. Like just the first 3 minutes, I was like, nope, I don't like this.
Interesting.
It's very awkward.
Yeah, I didn't even notice it. Is it like when they're in the plane? Like, what's happening at the beginning? I'm trying to remember what the opening scene is.
The opening is Brendan Gleeson. Oh, are you talking about the second movie?
Yeah,
Meg?
Yeah. No, I'm just talking. Yeah,
okay. That's why I'm confused.
Commenting on the second one where I was like, no, absolutely will not continue watching.
Okay,
that.
that's why I was confused. I was like, I never saw the second one.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right though, Meg, because I did start the second one myself, and like that very opening scene, one of the actors is very noticeably dubbed over.
Yeah.
Like he has no audio or something, or he was just a terrible actor, so they dubbed all his lines over. which is fine because
never a good look.
It's fine because he fucking dies in that scene. And then, like, I watched probably...
Whoa, spoilers, Steve.
I probably watched about 10, 15 minutes of it, and I just shut it off because it's literally beat for beat Lake Placid, but, like, worse.
Yeah.
But, like, with, like, soft porno lighting and, like, it's terrible. I'm just like, I'm not going to sit through another one.
You know, it's funny. It's like it almost like the way the dialogue is so forced and awkward. And I'm literally gauging this within the first few minutes where it's like, it almost sounds like a porno where it's just like, hey, we should go do this. Ha ha. You know, like it's
Who's at the door? Oh, it's the pizza boy.
Uh-oh. Where's my wallet?
We don't have any money. Yeah.
So I wanted to jump back to the cast. We're mentioning how it's pretty much an all-star cast.
Yeah.
But we also have Bill Pullman, Oliver Platt, Brendan Gleeson. Like it's a pretty much an all-star cast. And then to go back to the last episode, Natasha Malthe, better known as Rain from the Blood Rain series.
No.
She plays one of the townspeople.
Yeah.
Oh, is she the one that walked out?
Yeah, she's the hot girl.
Okay.
Yeah, she's the hot girl that
I didn't realize
Brendan
that.
Gleeson and Bill Pullman are drooling over in that one scene.
I felt like it was very awkward to watch Mariska Hargitay and her role in this. I was like, I've only seen her as a very straight-laced, very intelligent human, and then watching her be like, oh, sorry, we're banging. Oh,
yeah.
So you've never seen Ghoulies then, Meg?
Yeah, you need to get on some Ghoulie training. But yeah, you're 100% right, because I think of her, even though I love Ghoulies, I think of her in SVU.
Yeah, she's Detective Benson. Yeah.
I mean, Benson of Benson and Stabler fame she's fantastic in that show. And she, it's very strange to see her. I actually had completely forgotten she was in that. So it was kind of a little surprise when she popped up. Did you guys notice who the airplane pilot was in one of the early scenes?
I did not, but I see who it is.
Yeah,
it was Mr. Steve Miner. Threw himself in there as well. But great fucking cast. And they all play kind of characters that they're good at playing. They all play characters you've seen them play in other movies, kind of, which is weird. Like no one's stepping out of their comfort zone here, except for Betty White. You know, although comedy is not outside her comfort zone, she's hilarious, but it's outside of the audience's comfort zone where she's like being very crass and cussing and saying dirty shit. We're not going to go through this plot point by plot point, but I will say my favorite interactions in this movie are Oliver Platt's character who plays Hector Sear, who is this eccentric billionaire who is also for some reason obsessed with researching giant crocodiles, or not just giant crocodiles, I think just crocodiles in general. So much so that you come to learn that he believes that they are of a higher power in some capacity.
Very divine.
Yeah. Which is, he's this eccentric weirdo. Great late 90s banter with this guy. So many just smart ass responses between him and the straight man. Well, it really was two. One is, of course, Brendan Gleeson, who plays Sheriff Hank, and then Bill Pullman, who plays Jack Wells, which is the most Bill Pullman character I've ever heard in my fucking life. I love Bill Pullman. He's great. But Bill Pullman only plays like a very specific, straight-laced, handsome, or slightly nerdy, handsome lead man. Yeah. Like that's pretty much where he goes, right? He's either pretty good badass or just shy, slightly nervous, slightly nerdy, badass, handsome lead man.
Yes. Yeah. I really enjoyed Oliver Platt and Brendan Gleeson's relationship development throughout it too, but I think like Hector Sear was like one of my favorite characters throughout it too, because he just added so much texture, I feel like, to just the dynamic and actual humor versus in a very sincere way, you know, like they almost feel like caricatures of
they're very cartoonish.
but I feel like he could be something, you know. I think, I don't know, he was interesting, at least, is what I guess I'm trying to get at. They
play the cartoonish monster movie tone really well throughout. In this movie.
It's just
Brendan. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's just like it's just the fact that all 4 of these actors are so high caliber. And they all are abrasive towards each other. Like nobody has like a strong relationship when they show up, because like Bridget Fonda's character hates the small town sheriff and Fish and Wild game, but she's also has like history with Hector, but you know that doesn't mean the two of them get along. It's just they bump into each other a lot.
She's the only person kind of championing his expertise, but they're not necessarily friends.
She somehow understands like what he's doing and why he does it.
Right.
But I wanted to know about Brendan Gleeson, because I was like, he has such a recognizable face, but I don't think you always recognize where you see him. So I had to like look at his history, and I'm just like, I'm pretty sure the only thing I could remember him from is Harry Potter. And I was like, okay, I got it. Yeah. I mean, out of anything on his repertoire, I was like, yeah, Harry Potter seems the most viable that I would remember his face.
I have no doubt that is the thing he is most known for, unfortunately, but he is in so many fucking things. And I've nothing against Harry Potter. I'm just an adult. Fuck Did you see the other kind of late 90s, and I'm looking up his name because right now his name is escaping me, but he is an extremely recognizable character actor from the 90s who plays Bridget Fonda's boyfriend who's cheating on her / boss.
Adam Arkin. Yeah.
He is in fucking everything around that time frame. So I don't know. I always like to see him. I also associate him, right or wrong, with kind of police procedurals, which a lot of these people have shown up in those as well, obviously. Great 90s character actor as well.
Just to touch on that, we did Rogue 2 episodes ago, and the big problem with Rogue was Kevin. Kevin was a real shit.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? the inciting incident shit character is of this. It's Kevin.
Yeah.
Bridget Fonda's boyfriend's name is Kevin.
Yeah. Who sends her there because he's
I would actually put Hector as the shit character, but I do see where you're going with that.
I mean, he's a shit because he cheats on her and then sends her away into the mouth of danger.
Well, and also, I guess Betty White and her unseen late husband are also the real villains because they've built up and protected this giant killer crocodile in this lake. But in any case, the other character who I really, really like, who... You've seen her face in a bunch of stuff. I can't even tell you exactly what she would be known for.
I know
but
you'll
recognize her face. She plays she has a name, but I forget what it is. She plays a deputy.
Yeah, it's Meredith Salinger.
Yeah, it's Meredith Salinger. So she's in a bunch of stuff. She's an actor, writer, producer. I mean, she's been in a bunch of stuff. But she is she's Brendan Gleeson's deputy. What's her name? Deputy Sharon. Her over-the-top, immediate devotion to Hector is baffling and hilarious.
Yeah.
Like first of all, he comes in, he's like the party guy, playboy, whatever. And but not a classical, he's not a bad looking guy, but he's not like a classically handsome guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? He comes rolling in, kind of eccentric, weird guy with his helicopter, and just like she immediately falls in love with him. So much so that later she's trying to get with him, and Brendan Gleeson's character's like, no, hey, we got fucking work to do, blah, blah, blah. And then later, when they are trapped in a situation where Hector's in the water, slowly trying to retreat from the crocodile, before he gets in the water, she's trying to talk him out of it. And she's like, stay here. I'll have sex with you. And the way she says it is so strange and transactional, and out of character for anyone up until that point.
Yeah.
I would have already assumed that they would have found a way to to bang at that point. Well, so it didn't make sense to me because I'm like, wait, you guys probably are. If in real life, you guys probably would have already done done the dirty.
Probably, but like, you know, maybe she had other plans because she's been enthralled by this millionaire who's come in with a helicopter to her dumbass small town, and she sees a way out of her dumbass small town. But you know,
maybe
she's
not
going to.
You should be nice to small towns, Steve.
I live in a small town. But if somebody flew in a helicopter and wanted to take me away, yeah. But I'm not going to give up the goods right away because then they can just leave on their helicopter with getting what they want. Meg.
Why would they buy the cow if they can have the milk for free?
Exactly.
Wow. So, I think you're thinking
another cow reference.
Another cow reference.
So maybe she had been holding it out for that reason, but in order to save his life, she threw the one thing on the table that she hadn't given up at that moment.
Yeah,
I think at that point though that she probably gave him a hand job.
Very thoroughly through that one.
I think about being rescued all the time, Meg.
The thing that I loved about this too, that I thought was so weird, was she wasn't like, "Come on, get in the boat, let's fuck," or like, "Hey, listen, don't screw around with that. Like, let's go do the," in the back of the helicopter. She just, in a very almost clinical way, she says, "I will have sex with you." Like it sounded like she should have been like, "We can perform intercourse together." Like the way she said it was just so weird and out of place. And he was like, said some, cool guy line and then splashed into the water. But
my fucking shitty brain's so bad. I thought she was Yasmin Bleeth for a while. Like,
I mean, I could see that. She doesn't really look like her, but she's a similar type.
Yeah. They're pretty brunettes. So it's like, yeah. I just haven't seen Yasmin Bleeth in a while, so I don't know what that is either. So,
yeah, we need a little refresher on Yasmin Bleeth. Come to my house. I have a poster on my bedroom wall.
Oh, okay.
No, just kidding. I did though as a child. That was a weird thing. My kid just had a book fair at school. One of my kids had to go give some money to come back with fucking some goosebumps or whatever. I just remembered that I definitely bought like pseudo sexy posters at school book fairs when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would buy like a Ryan Sandberg poster and then a poster of like Yasmin Bleeth in like a spaghetti strap top.
Yeah,
and then two goosebumps.
Yeah, you get a Lamborghini and a Pam Anderson.
It's really weird that they had this. I mean, they didn't have the really like hardcore like Spencer's Gift type posters, but they definitely had some like teen heartthrobish type of, you could go grab yourself a Britney Spears poster, you know what I mean, or something like that.
Meg, did you grab yourself a Jonathan Taylor Thomas?
No, she just bought all the horse posters they had. It's just
Brian's not wrong.
He just bought a
but they're also
poster
JTT
of a horse
stuff.
with
yes,
frosted
and it's
tips.
JTT, okay.
There was a horse with a bowl cut, and she was like,
I don't like your perception of me.
You fucking love horses.
No, it was actually really funny. I was out last night, and I was going near the south side, and
I was at this horse bar.
No, there were actually cops on horses, and like I was like, I want to take a picture of these horses. They're so pretty. I was like, no, you do not need to give people ammo right now.
Hey, bud, how many hands is that horse? What's that, about 40 hands? It's a big ass horse. He was like, horse girl,
so
nice. We didn't mention as well. There's another deputy involved. I think his name's Walt or something. He doesn't really do a whole lot of anything.
No, and that's the interesting about this film is
No, I'm sorry, Deputy Burke.
Burke.
I'm getting two. I'm getting two characters mixed up.
But no, that's the interesting thing about this film though is like the only people who die in this film are all side fodder characters.
Yeah, they're red shirts. Yeah. Only red shirts die in this freaking movie. It's weird. No main characters really die, do they?
No.
But I feel like Bridget responds as if like they were, you know, like this is like very traumatic. So I think they do a good job still making it seem like it's a very emotional thing for them.
Yeah.
So.
It's not just a throwaway like slasher stuff. I mean, although there's a lot of comedy in it, it's not. Life isn't as unprecious as it is in other films.
Yeah.
But because I mean, I think only like 3 people really die on camera. Because you have
one of the cops, the fish and game guy early on who gets decapitated in the boat,
right?
And then doesn't another cop die too?
I think another cop, and I think So it's only 2 or 3 people who really actually die on screen, and then just a lot of peril for others.
Yeah.
Although I found it interesting, also because the fact that there wasn't just like a scene like the beginning of Jaws, where it's just like people swimming in the lake. Yeah. You know, this film.
It's just like we found a tooth.
Yeah. This film steals so much from Jaws.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that's part of the comedy. Because it's like Jaws is funny in a way of like, how did this kind of shark get this far inland in America? And then now it's like, oh, how is a crocodile that's from Asia come all the way to Maine in the lake? But there was no scene of just throwaway teens that they.
There wasn't any locals getting munched while they're inner tubing or something, which you would have thought would be the case. So it's almost, and this is honestly one of the things I like about it, is you don't see the crocodile for a long time, and then they reveal it very suddenly, which I really like.
Yeah.
I like when that happens. Yeah. When you only have some indications of, especially for giant monster movies, you know what I mean? Anything, huge forms of like nature attacks, you know, kind of thing. I don't like when they show it right off the bat and they're like a helicopter view kind of thing of like its silhouette in the water. Like they could have done something like that. But now you're like, oh, you don't know how big this thing is. And then when now it's 1999 CGI. So back then I remember being very impressed by it. Now it doesn't hold up great, but it's not bad. You know, in the right context, it's not bad. But when first you see it jump up out of the water, you're like, holy goddamn shit, that's a big crocodile kind of thing. So they really, you know, built, and then didn't disappoint, which I think is cool.
Right. And even though the CGI lacks, there's still also a lot of practical croc stuff as well. So it's
a lot of big mechanical fucking puppets kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like that was very apparent. Like, and you guys already kind of touched on this stuff, but like, I feel like you could tell exactly when they were doing what they were going to do, because it's like when it was in the water, they did not fuck around with anything related to CGI. You could almost tell. It's like it was always just like this half like alligator character thing that they're using a machine underneath. You can kind of tell that throughout it.
It was mostly they had some Bruce-like thing, but for crocodiles. Right. I'm sure they had it. I'm sure they had a name on set, you know, as an homage to Jaws. But
Cruise.
Yeah, they probably could have done better. But they had I really liked. I thought it was creative. I mean, yeah, dumb, sure. But I like how they trapped it at the end, too, where it basically got trapped inside the helicopter kind of thing. And then you had this like very close up scene with it as a practical, you know, kind of bit. It was just basically the head and an upper torso, but it looked really good. And I always loved in like old, you know, 40s, 50s, 60s sci-fi movies where, you know, you finally got that up close and personal interaction with the beast, you know, at some point or another. And I'm glad that they put the dollars into, you know, making that happen. Again, this was 99, so we weren't that many years away from, you know, just people not doing that anymore. So I thought it was pretty cool. I don't know what the budget was on this, but I imagine it was substantial.
But again, how much of that went to the actual actors?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
27 million. Yeah. Looks like the budget was 27 million, by the way.
I'm reading 35, but you know, hey.
Okay.
I would have guessed it was in that somewhere in the 30s, but yeah, it's a pretty big budget.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Listen, it's not Gremlins 2, but it's got.
You know what I felt like was a missed opportunity for this that kind of happened around the time when the crocodile got stuck in the helicopter was like the fact that there was a second one.
I love that. It was so cheap and stupid, but I really did kind of like it. I know it's bad. Let me be wrong. Like, you're 100% right.
Well, I just feel like it was a missed opportunity to build a better story around it because it makes certain things make sense related to when Hector was going out with just the deputy and they had literally just fed one of them.
Right.
You kind of like, how did it get over there so fast? But at the same time, you kind of are like, you like brush it off almost because it's this crocodile's like huge and like crazy and he didn't actually attack him. So you get that maybe it was the crocodile that just got fed, but maybe it's not.
Yeah.
And it's, am I wrong in saying that the second one is considerably smaller?
It looks
one's
smaller.
probably male and female.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that was the case because then obviously we have the babies, so that made sense.
Well, I just loved when so because you think Hector's going to die the whole time, right? He's cheating death over and over and over again. He's arrogant. He's the rich dickhead, which is weird because I think 10 years before this movie, any person like that would have read like a 100% bad guy, and 10 years after, it would and up to this point, a character like that would be 100% be the bad guy. But there was this period in like the that like 10-year period from like let's say 95 to 2005, where like characters like that were oftentimes not necessarily the bad guy. Right. Like an eccentric millionaire saving the day, like was acceptable. I think it's weird. Like before that, anybody who's the millionaire coming into town is like, that's the fucking bad guy. That's the devil. And then now, of course, that is a very common narrative. But like, there was a little period there where it's like, all right, call in the eccentric millionaire. He'll fix this.
Even if you go back a couple years again to Twister, Cary Elwes. His character, he's I don't know that he's necessarily a millionaire, but he's definitely funded by money. So he's the character with the money who comes in, thinks he knows everything. So and he was definitely the bad guy because he treated everybody like shit. But like, I think it's because one, Oliver Platt's character is there to party with everybody. So he's being affable to smaller characters, even if he's abrasive with characters that we don't necessarily know if we like or not, because Bridget, as you guys said, Bridget Fonda's kind of annoying to you, but then also Bill Pullman and Brendan Gleeson are annoying each other. They're, so nobody really likes each other. So it's hard to define a villain, but also he's also not out to kill the croc.
No, he is the eccentric millionaire is the conservationist in this instance, which is a rarity. And also, they give him a sympathetic backstory too, which again is pretty unique. So they talk about him as a kid getting picked on and all that sort of thing. So like, I don't know, he's just a really unique kind of fun character that just reminded me of something. Yeah, it just reminds me of that era. Like I feel like those types of characters, whether it be like, I'm trying to think like 13 Ghosts. He's more of a bad guy. The eccentric millionaire is definitely a bad guy. But but what was the other one I was thinking of? Boy,
Gremlins 2 again.
Yeah, that's it. I was thinking of Gremlins 2. I'm always thinking of Gremlins 2. No, but anyway, just a really interesting, like oddly well fleshed out character.
Yeah. And they all kind of are, because they all have different, because like Brendan Gleeson's character is this small town sheriff, but also he has like a lot of insecurities about himself because for some reason Bill Pullman pulls more weight than him. And like, strange that they kind of explain that off in one line where they're like, out on the water they got the jurisdiction or something. It's like, I don't know if that's true or not, but
they're all telling the sheriff to fuck off constantly, and he's always like, my hands are tied, I guess. Like, wait, what? I thought you were the fucking sheriff.
He gets no respect. He gets like, everybody treats him like dog shit, but he still has to be some sort of force in the law. So I think only Bill Pullman's character is the only one that is just kind of bland sheetrock.
That's what I was saying. Oddly enough, his is the only one that you just really don't know shit about.
Yeah.
He is just, I honestly feel like they looked at the cast and they were like, we need one more handsome white dude.
Right.
Like, honestly, like the producers were like, there's no handsome white dude to put on the poster. So they inserted him because they don't give him anything to do.
Yeah. It would be funny if like we already said there's like 5 other Lake Placid films, but I think if this movie was made today, they would have like himbofied Bill Pullman's character a little bit more, like made him dumber, made him like a Chris Hemsworth type, where he knows his job, but he doesn't know much else. And,
sure.
And so like,
I could see that.
Everybody else has a brain around him. Like Bridget Fonda has her, expertise. Oliver Platt has his expertise. Like everybody else around him has expertise, but he's just kind of like the man meat to just stand around.
Yeah, it's almost like they knew they needed something like that, and it's just evolved over the time. Yeah,
or I kept waiting for him to have like a tragic backstory or something, or like he's more like hardball. You know what I mean? I was waiting for him to be
a kid or something like that.
Yeah, like a kid, and maybe he has like struggle with alcoholism or something. Like I was waiting for him to be something similar to like what's his name, the director and lead in Wolf of Snow Hollow. What's that kid?
Jim Cummings, his character.
Yeah. I was waiting for him to be a little bit more of like that Jim Cummings type of character or something. But yeah, he just never. It never comes to fruition.
Yeah.
That movie rules. I gotta rewatch it. I forgot how much that movie rules.
You could also watch the new movie, The Beta Test, his new one.
I know. I need to do that. I like him a lot.
Yeah. Very entertaining guy.
Shout out Jim Cummings.
Yeah, right.
For some reason.
You did it.
Hey, good job. Yeah. So the end, and I know we're jumping around here, but yeah, it's the plot to this movie is it's a big fucking alligator. People are trying to get it. They're arguing with each other, and then they try to get the alligator. That's the whole goddamn movie. But at the end, it's very classic, like I say, creature feature type of thing. But at the end, the scene that I really liked, it was very dumb. And Meg, you kind of talked about it already a little bit, was Hector, you kept waiting for him to die. So you're at the end, and they have this standoff where the only part I didn't like was where Bill Pullman's character, who again hasn't earned anything, no, you don't care at all about him. He has to be the one to kind of make the call whether they're going to kill the crocodile when it's trapped in the kind of shell of the helicopter. And of course, Bridget Fonda's character and Oliver Platt's character are saying, no, don't kill it. Brendan Gleeson's character has the gun on it and is like, wants to pull the trigger, and for some reason it's Bill Pullman's call because he's the wildlife guy. I don't know. And Hector, Oliver Platt, is standing by the shore, and another alligator just jumps up and grabs him, starts attacking him. You think, oh, he's dead. Okay, they got him. But then he's not even injured. And the sheriff just blasts that alligator, and then Hector's like, he bit me. He's just not injured. And then he survives. Yeah. It was just such a strange thing. And then the drugs start kicking in because they've tranquilized him. And then they're like, okay, we're gonna try to take this thing alive. But
you know what could have even added a layer to this is if, like, we all kind of thought Hector could have died, but if he would have just gotten, like, his arm bitten off or something.
Or
like
his leg, or Yeah, I
think that would have made more sense. I mean, he still got hurt, quote unquote, but, like,
But he really didn't. That's the thing is, like, you think he did because he just got attacked by a fucking crocodile.
Yeah.
But he's good.
Yeah.
Like, his pants aren't even torn.
And it's funny because, like, this plays very similar to another film that came out in 1999. We all remember Deep Blue Sea.
Oh, yes.
I never watched it, but I know you're talking about.
One of the greatest jump scare kills ever.
In which Samuel L. Jackson is just immediately taken away by a shark.
Well, after a long, heartfelt monologue.
Yeah.
A shark, unprovoked, while he's inside, jumps up through basically like an exit hatch type of thing in the water and just eats his ass, and everybody's, oh, god damn. That movie is one of the most fun movies in the world to put on with people who have never seen it before,
Right.
and you just don't tell them that's coming. And they go, what the fuck? Like that. I remember seeing that in the theaters when I was a kid and being like, jaw just hitting the fucking floor.
Yeah. Because I think at that time, we all kind of knew Samuel L. Jackson. He was probably the biggest star of that film at the time, outside of
for sure.
outside of LL Cool J. And to see him get killed, that was like, oh wow, that's fucking crazy. You can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah, that movie actually rules
it
too.
really does.
Listen, I deeper, bluer, my hat is like a shark's fin. That's what I always say.
But yeah,
that is the worst, the coolest movie with the worst fucking song ever written.
I don't know. Go back and listen to it again. It's not as bad.
He says, deeper, bluer,
deepest, bluest,
my hat,
deepest,
bluest. A quote, deepest, bluest, my hat is like a shark's fin.
Yeah. Fucking rules. It fucking bumps. Dude, turn it back on. It fucking bumps. Dude, trap music sucks. Check out LL Cool J's Deepest Bluest. Fucking rules.
Oh my god. Oh, that fucking song.
I'm questioning
I just
your
imagine
taste
you pulling
now,
up to a red light, look over at like some youths in the car beside you, and you're like, what's up? And you're just cranking Deepest Bluest.
They're playing Tekashi 6ix9ine or what the fuck ever. And she's like, no, this is the real shit. Deepest Bluest.
Young, cool hip hop teens and their Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Man, that dude's wild. Not gonna lie. We want to like talk about that. That dude's wild.
No, I have not. Isn't there a documentary out about him or something now?
That's what I'm talking. Like, that dude,
did you watch it?
I watched parts of it. Yeah, I mean enough to understand that this dude is like a genius in ways and also ridiculous in a lot of more ridiculous ways.
He's also a snitch.
Yeah,
snitches get stitches.
It does feel like it's a miracle that he's still alive. Yeah. But in any case, listen, this is not. We're gonna do a Tekashi 6ix9ine episode. Trust me.
Is there a horror subgenre called Tekashi 6ix9ine?
That actually does sound like it could be like a Kurosawa book or something like that.
Or
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Much more of a Takashi Miike film.
Oh yes, it's definitely more cyberpunk. Yeah. No, you're right about that. It definitely has more of a cyberpunk sound to it. Like what is it? 864 Pinocchio or whatever the fuck. 964 Pinocchio. That's a fucking masterpiece. All right.
So one more thing before we wrap up. I just and this speaks to the cast of the film and just there's a lot of good writing, but also there's a lot of sick burns in this film.
There are some fucking sick burns. You're right. I didn't even get to them.
But the one I made particular note of was a lot of it comes between Brendan Gleeson's character and Oliver Platt. But the one I made note of was between them, and Brendan Gleeson is talking about how he like it's impossible for crocodiles to migrate or whatever. And Oliver Platt says, well, yeah, you say that, but they hide that kind of information in books. It's just like, what the fuck?
There's so seriously rude. Like probably 6 or 8 fucking really good ones. It's so great. There's another one where he makes some sort of like it's like some sort of like dick size one or something like that. I forget. It's another one where he just says something to him about oh man, what the fuck was it? I don't know. I have to look at it. But yeah, there were so many great burns. And yeah, 90% of them are between those two. And almost all of them are said by Hector to somebody. Like he's definitely the one-liner guy.
That's funny.
Lake Placid, guys. What do you think? Meg, first time watch for you. How many horse stars are we getting on this?
Let's do croc stars today, and I'm gonna do because this is our second croc film in like a 30-day period. So
yeah, a lot of croc films.
I'm gonna give it 2.5 croc star out of 5, solely for the lack of croc action. But I would give it a 4 out of 5 for the cow action.
Oh, okay.
4 cows out of 5 for sure, and a 10
now,
out of 10
4
Betty
cows
White stars.
out of Okay, gotcha. It's not 4 out of 5 croc stars for the cow action. It's 4 out of 5 cow stars. Gotcha.
Yeah. We'll break it down. And then Betty White got a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
There is a horse in the film, though. It's in the background.
Where is there a horse? I'm trying to remember.
It's when they visit.
It was on the farm.
Yeah. It's on.
It's just at Betty White's farm.
It's in the background.
Yeah.
That's also it's also the major plot point of how her husband gets killed, because she's saying one of the horses got out, and he interceded in between the croc and the horse, and he got ate. So horse action is actually pretty detrimental in this film.
Yeah. She does also get she has a couple of really good burns too. Not just of course this is the point where if I had a dick, I'd tell you to suck it. But also when she says something about she hopes they get eaten by the crocodile, and then she says to the other deputy, "Is it a crime to wish death upon a law enforcement officer or something?" And
but
he's
she
like,
says
"I don't know."
But she says that after straight up saying that she killed her husband.
Yeah. She's got some great fucking lines in this movie too.
And just not just lines, but she has a great piece of acting where they're walking through her farm and they're trying to interview her, and she's throwing out chicken feed, and she just takes a handful of chicken feed and throws it on Brendan Gleeson, just throws it right on his stomach. It's just
yeah.
She's fucking hilarious. She's so genuinely hilarious. Moral of the story, guys, go watch Golden Girls. It's a fucking riot. I mean, laughs per minute. There is not that many better sitcoms like that and Cheers. I mean, yes, it's not the same as 30 Rock, which is not even, there's barely a story. It's just jokes. It's not like this modern type of, Parks and Rec 30 Rock stuff. Cheers and Golden Girls. Trust me.
I'm dying over here because I'm like, is this a sitcom podcast now?
Oh my God. Brian's changing the game. Love those fucking shows. All right. Boys and ghouls, let me remind you one more time. For our showdown episode for the month of April, we've got 3 options for you. We've got Bigfoot horror. We've got British horror. We've got monsters from the deep. So this week, we are going to put those out on the social media. So if you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on there so you can help us pick which one it is. And also, you know what? While you're there, slide on into the old DMs. Like I said, listen, this time of year, it's cold, it's dry. Your hands are probably a little chapped, so moisturize them first, right? Put a little Cornhuskers lotion on there first. Get them all nice and moist and slippery. Slide into the old DMs. Then Meg's just shaking her head. No. And give us some suggestions as well for topics to add to the wheel, but also for Minisode ideas as well. We very much appreciate that. Any final thoughts, gang?
No, bro.
Lake Placid, guys. I didn't do you dirty. I can't make the guarantee that I'm gonna be this kind next time, if there is a next time. Pretty much next time we do some sort of absolute horseshit topic where the worst movie wins. That will be the next one I win. And I may not be this nice. So soak it in, cherish it. Don't take it for granted, because you know what? You never know if it's going to ever happen again.
Live, laugh, horror is really pretty much what you're saying over here.
Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. All right. Anything else?
Good?
Nope, yes,
nope.
That's it.
Nope.
Well, for the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
And I would suck Mariska Hargitay's dick.
Oh, wouldn't we all? Bye-bye.